it doesn't seem like it's going to be a safety car as we are now battling with Pierre Gasly and Daniel Ricciardo. Here we go. Gasly to the inside. I'm going to the outside. Ricciardo moves to the racing line. It's 3 wide. Gasly shoves me off the road. I had nowhere to go there. I had nowhere to go. Like what? Turbocharged 51 over here. I hope you're having a splendid day wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to F1 22, the Road to Glory career mode, driving for Williams Racing. And guys, it's time for the one race where we actually have a pretty good chance of securing some pretty solid points. It's time for the Italian Grand Prix in the backyard of Scuderia Ferrari. But guys, I hope you guys are having a splendid day wherever you are in the world. Like I said, remember to drop a like down below on the video at any stage where you enjoy yourself throughout this video. And let's get it. So guys, we've got a few dates before we get to the 8th of September, which is the date of the Italian Grand Prix. We're currently sitting on the 29th of August, and there's a lot to run through in this video. So let's get started. So guys, obviously you guys know getting this car from the bottom of the grid this season has been quite a struggle. But we've managed to get some pretty solid results out of the car so far. So currently sitting 8th in the Drivers' Championship on 63 points, splitting the two McLarens. Now, the chances of us catching Lando, not very good. But the chances of us staying ahead of Danny Rick is still there if we just manage our races properly and try and keep this car in the points, even if it's only a P10 or a P9. Because that is going to make the difference between us getting 8th in the drivers and 9th in the drivers. But we can also not forget about Fernando Alonso in that Alpine, because the Alpines are just getting quicker and quicker and quicker. Even more than that, constructors-wise, we are not catching McLaren. We need to stay ahead of Alpine. Alonso and Ocon have really been on the grind these past few races, and staying ahead of Alpine is going to be a very tall task. I don't think we have to worry about AlphaTauri, but Alpine is definitely going to be a team that we're going to need to worry about. So you guys can see we've had an upgrade come in. We've got our weekly resources that have come in. We're sitting on 1,071 resource points. We've got 3 upgrades still pending on this car, as Aston Martin is now ahead of Haas. Are you freaking kidding me? Aston Martin is the team I want to catch, for Pete's sakes on toast, man. This is not the easiest career mode. Like, honestly, I haven't had so many struggles in very long. So we need to repurchase our tire blankets because that is an upgrade that actually failed. And looking towards our chassis department, that is where the Williams needs the most work. The engine, we've got the crankshaft upgrade coming in, and there's not really much we can do in the engine department, especially now that we've repurchased the tire blanket upgrade. But heading into this episode, we currently have the best engine on the grid. That's the reason I'm saying Monza can be a very good race for us. We have 2 aero upgrades that have come in on the car. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. We've got a little bit of an event in front of the Italian Grand Prix. And guys, by the way, you guys saw how it runs now. It's not really something anybody's interested. So probably for future episodes, I'm going to start skipping that because there is no point in doing it. It's boring for you guys to view. And it's not the most fun thing in the world to do. For me, I want to get to the real action, the F1 action. So you guys can see we're still sitting on 621 resource points. Just quickly checking the upgrades that have come in, and it's looking good on the chassis side. Hopefully, if we get a regulation reset, it doesn't influence the chassis, because that would be heartbreaking, because that's the area that we've worked on the most this season, because it is where we are the absolute worst. We've basically got an F2 chassis for F1, and we need to build this chassis up to become a proper F1 chassis. That's how bad the Williams chassis really is. So we can't purchase anything. We've got the tire blankets coming in at some stage, and yeah, it is just time for us to probably, I think this episode I still did the little mini event before the race weekend, so you guys can just enjoy this. But heading in towards this weekend, guys, like I told you guys over the previous few episodes, my main goal is just to get this car to not be the slowest car on the grid according to the R&D chart come season 2. I wanted to try and do it this season, but clearly the game is just like, how about no? How about you struggle the whole season? And yes, we've had our struggles. We've had some pretty poor races where we've just absolutely, I mean, I'm looking back at France. It was just, we had no pace. And the thing is, there are going to be other races like that if we stay at the bottom of the grid. We need to get this car. We need to get it into the midfield. Because if we want to go for the championship in Season 3, by the end of Season 3, we need to at least be trying to stick it to the front guys. But the chances of that happening at this stage of the career is not very well. Because we just can't seem to get this car from that bottom slot of the grid. As you guys see, I just destroy a few $100,000 Ferrari, but it's fine. Luckily, it's in game, so Ferrari is not going to sue us. But by the way, I love this F8 Tributo in the game. Of all the supercars, probably my favorite. Yes, and I do like it more than the 720S and the AMG GTR Black Series. Not the point. So, guys, 3 of the 4 upgrades that we purchased have come in. It's just the tire blankets that have failed, so it's not the end of the world. And we now need to take a look at this R&D screen, because that is where everything stands. So Haas have brought a massive upgrade. Jeez Louise, they've jumped a bit. But guys, look how close we are to Aston Martin and AlphaTauri. So let's run through the R&D. Ferrari lead the way from Red Bull in P2, Mercedes P3. Those 3 teams are extremely close. Any of those 3 cars that get into the lead has got the possibility to win the Grand Prix. McLaren in P4, Alpine P5, Haas P6, Alfa Romeo P7. Then it's AlphaTauri a pixel ahead of Aston Martin in P8. And then we are sitting in P10. But this little groove is so damn small. Like, it's so frustrating that we are still the slowest car on the grid. But it means that we actually can fight with these guys if we get the car in the correct position and we actually are on the correct strategy. So we need to start thinking a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? We need to be thinking a bit more thoroughly for these final 4 races of the season. Because, to be honest with you guys, now that we actually have a car that can fight for points, because we are within that threshold of Alpine all the way down to us, we're going to have to be very smart in the way we think about this. So we can't just go for these ballsy strategies anymore, starting on the hards, ending on the mediums, and just hoping that we can just keep other cars behind. We might need to start fighting a bit, and going with the boring AI strategies and just having some absolute kick booty action-packed races with overtaking and defending and everything. But guys, you guys can see after practice, obviously got some resource points, getting some aero upgrades in, and it is now time for qualifying. So guys, jumping into the start of Q1, and you guys can see we've got a little bit of a wet Monza. So guys, obviously with it being intermediate conditions, I thought it was going to go to dry conditions, so I just went for the one lap wonder as Mick Schumacher goes to provisional pole on a 126. But yeah, this was some sketchy weather, I'm not gonna lie. The weather was just not on our side, but we still managed it because obviously it's Monza, we're running very low wings, but we managed to do a 127.2.
Okay, we can take you this lap.
Thank you very much, Mark. But that is not what I had in mind. So the track conditions did get slightly better come the end of the session. So we managed to, we're gonna manage to go out again. I put in a few laps of fuel so that we could actually, push a bit and do more than one lap as the track gets better. Just stay out there and hope for the absolute best. But like I said, the conditions were very, very tricky.
Okay, when you're ready, let's go.
Thank you, Mark. Let's get this Williams out on track and see if we can have a one-hit wonder Q2 performance. As with 6.5 minutes left on the clock for qualifying, we are out there. We are pushing like an absolute stabbed rat. 3.5 laps of fuel still left. We are down in P20 behind our teammate Alex Albon. So at this stage, thanks to the wet weather, where chassis and aero is where you need a good car, which we don't have. So engine power is not as big as a factor. So the rain basically neutralized any advantage that we had. So we come across the line for our first lap. We nip Albon. It's a 126.882, but there's still a lot of time on the table, and we need to get this Williams into a proper position. Let's head through this first chicane. You guys can see I'm really just going for gold, mounting the curbs, going nuts, because of guys, we haven't gotten into Q2 once this season, not once. And that to me is like, that's a failure in my opinion. Coming through Parabolic, a very big tank slapper on the way up, but we manage to keep the car on a straight line. We go down to a 126.4, and with the amount of ERS we have left, we're probably going to have to do a lap of saving and conserving and then go for one more lap. But on our final lap, as you guys can see, Sebastian Vettel comes out of the pit lane and he absolutely ruins our lap. So I tried to go for another one, but as you guys can see, if you look at my fuel, we did not have enough fuel for one more lap. Vettel ruined our last chance to get into Q3 because we are currently sitting in P16. That's the final spot that gets knocked out. You need P15 or higher. And I was just hoping and praying that my fuel would last, but obviously that was not going to be the case. And even though the tires were reasonably worn, there was still a lot of pace in the car. But as you guys can see, going through Curva Grande, I saw there's no point. We're going to be out of qualifying. And by the end of qualifying, we are in last place. We're not going to start last because Lance Stroll's got a 5-place grid penalty for some other reason. But this qualifying session has just blew up in our face.
Welcome back to one of only 2 countries that has held a race every year since the very first Formula One World Championship in 1950. It is, of course, Italy, one of the great racing nations, and it's time to get underway for the Italian Grand Prix. With top speeds reaching 215 miles per hour, only a few places can challenge Monza's crown as the fastest track in Formula One. Hard braking zones going into the 3 chicanes make up the majority of the 11 corners on this 3.6-mile circuit. And just in case the slipstream wasn't enough, 2 DRS zones will help encourage some close action. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. An immense lap from Carlos Sainz yesterday puts him in pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Hamilton, George Russell and Norris, Fernando Alonso, Ricciardo, Ocon and Pierre Gasly, Verstappen, Tsunoda, Mick Schumacher and Vettel, Albon, Bottas, O'Connor and Kevin Magnussen. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Stroll and Guan Yu Zhou. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box. Ant, it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn 1. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Okay, now that we've got some good points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Well, Mark, that would be the idea. But considering there's rain on the way later on in the race, it might be a bit sketchy. But guys, like I said, we don't have anything to lose at this stage. The 2 McLarens are in the top 10. One of the 2 Alpines, obviously it's being Alonso, is in the top 10. We've got our work cut out for us, like you wouldn't believe. So as you guys can see, I'm trying to go for a soft to hard strategy to see how that works out. Because, like I said, we've got nothing to lose. We're starting P17 thanks to penalties. But we've got so much work to do in this race. Thanks to basically not just the wet weather, but a current four-time world champion Sebastian Vettel costing us a bit much in the final part of Q1. But it's all fine. No hard feelings. And as you guys can see, obviously, I swapped my strategy once again. We're starting on the hards to try and see if we can go until the rain hits. And then from there on, go on to the inters. Well, maybe the guys ahead of us are going to need to stop before the rain hits. So we are definitely going to jump a few positions then. But there's a lot that needs to happen in this race. You guys can see my front wing is only on 5. I think my rear wing is also on like 6 or 7. So we're running extremely, extremely low wings here at Monza. But that's the only way you're going to get, you know, any straight line speed. And because it's this car's advantage, I kind of need it. You guys can see I'm going for a very skew angle into my grid box to see if I can get to the inside of the track, because that is what we're aiming towards. But it is now time for the Italian Grand Prix. And guys, are you ready? As we head to 5 red lights. And it's go, go, go for the Italian Grand Prix. As the hometown heroes Ferrari will lock out the front row. It is Sainz from Leclerc. But Leclerc gets a beautiful launch as he slots in ahead of Carlos Sainz. Then you've got the Red Bull of Sergio Perez, George Russell, then the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton, as Verstappen started in P11 thanks to a grid penalty. Leclerc leads the way from Carlos Sainz in P2. It's Perez P3, followed by the 2 Mercedes of George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. That is your top 5. But the 2 Ferraris have had a beautiful first 2 corners as they head through Curva Grande into the second sector chicane. They have got a little bit of a lead over the Red Bull and the 2 Mercedes cars, as the 2 Mercedes cars are being followed closely behind by the 2 McLarens of Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo, with the Alpine of Fernando Alonso just lurking right behind, followed by the 2 Alpha Tauris of Pierre Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda. Let's jump back to our start, because guys, it was quite a, let me put it this way, an action-packed start. You guys can see I actually I'm a bit slow off the line, and heading into this corner, guys, once again I changed my tire strategy to mediums, and I was just going to try and stretch the mediums all the way to the rain part of the race, because I just didn't see any reason to go onto the softs or the hards, so I swapped it back to mediums. So sorry I didn't give as much detail on that. It's just me being stupid. But you guys can see I had a very large open door on the inside of turn 1, but there's contact between myself and Max Verstappen. It's a massive crash between myself and Verstappen. What on earth happened there? And even my teammate Albon was involved in that incident. So you guys can see heading through Curva Grande, Max comes to the outside. I just didn't see him. I honestly didn't see him. And literally, I just started, slightly to move to the outside to see if there was maybe space on the inside for the cars ahead of me to go for a little bit of a dive. And I just didn't think Max was there. I focused too much on the cars ahead. And even though, I was already starting to close the door, Max literally went onto the grass, tried to do a Vettel, what was it, 2013 or 2011. He tried to do a Vettel 2011. But in this instance, it didn't work out for him. But it's a massive crash. And even my teammate Albon, he was lucky to get through that. Albon, yeah, man, you need to go play the lottery tonight, because you're clearly going to win some big loads of money. And because you're my teammate, pass half of it this way, please, because if it wasn't for me, you would never have known you're lucky. In any case, so guys, obviously the safety car was deployed after that. At the end of lap 3, the safety car is going to come into the pit lane. We are sitting in P12. Our teammate unfortunately did break his front wing, making contact with us, so he's back down to P18 ahead of Valtteri Bottas. But guys, honestly, I put my hands in the air. That was my fault with the crash with Verstappen. I focused way too much on the drivers ahead and just didn't think about looking behind me. So I do apologize to Verstappen. How many times are Verstappen and I going to come together this season? Clearly, he's got some sort of vendetta against me. But we are back to green flag running as the 2 Ferraris lead the way, still from Perez, Russell and Hamilton, followed closely by the 2 McLarens, and then the Alpine of Fernando Alonso, and then the 2 Alpha Tauris in your top 10. There's front wing parts flying there. Somebody made contact. There's another pile up. There's another. Fernando Alonso is out of the race. What on earth happened here? The man that is trying to get his team ahead of our team in the constructors, the man flying the flag for Alpine, makes a massive blunder. He's just way too late on the brakes, but that's a very late move from Ricciardo. That is a very late move from Ricciardo on Lando. Alonso was already heading towards the inside, and Ricciardo just pulled out ahead of Alonso. So that is another DNF, but for some other reason, no safety car has been deployed, which doesn't make sense because Alonso's car was literally sitting on the racing line. But, okay, stewards, you do you. As Lewis Hamilton is going side by side with his teammate George Russell, heading into T1. Here we go. Hamilton on the outside, Russell on the inside. The corner will favor Hamilton as they head through the second part of it. But Russell has the exit, and he keeps his Mercedes ahead of his much senior Mercedes teammate Lewis Hamilton. Perez is giving Sainz a hell of a time as well at the end of lap 5. As Perez on the back straight before we head into Parabolica is side by side with the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. I'm sure the Tifosi are not enjoying this as Sainz has to have a massive moment around the corner. But Perez goes around the outside. It's a beautiful move from the Mexican as he's now going to try and chase down Charles Leclerc. But DRS, oh no, sorry about that. I thought DRS was already enabled, but it was not. But Sainz is trying to battle back on Perez. Hamilton is still going after Russell. And Sainz actually re-overtakes Perez on that little section. Guys, excuse the jump in the recording. Once again, there's nothing I can do about that. But Russell sticks ahead of Hamilton, and Sainz re-overtakes Perez for P2 in this race. I'm sure the Tifosi are loving that. As we now head towards the start of lap 7, and now DRS has been activated. Hamilton will have DRS, as Russell will not, because they are too far behind the Red Bull and the two Ferraris. So here we go. Hamilton to the outside. Will he squeeze his teammate? He tried, but Russell was a little bit more firm. But still, Lewis gets up into P4. It's 3 wide between the two McLarens and the AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly. What racing do we have here? Ricciardo is the one getting out the better of the two of them as Gasly tries to run around the outside. Norris is still there as well. And guys, remember, AlphaTauri is also an Italian team, so they are fighting for some country pride here. But what a move from the Frenchman Pierre Gasly at a race 2 years ago where he won his first Grand Prix for AlphaTauri. The Frenchman is looking very, very, very racy today. But here we go. On to lap 8. Here comes Ricciardo as he got passed by Gasly through Curva Grande on the previous lap. Ricciardo to the inside with the assistance of DRS. But with these three guys battling hammer and tong, we have gotten ourselves right into this fight. And guys, considering we are fighting Ricciardo and Alonso in the constructors, Alonso is out. We need to get something done here on Ricciardo. It's a beautiful move up to the inside of Lando Norris through Curva Grande. And guys, the straight line speed of the Williams was really proving dividends here. The car is still a bit heavy and needs some drag reduction as well, but I can work with it for now. I can work with it. As long as I stick within DRS and stay within the DRS train, the Williams can run with these guys. But the main place where I lose time is through those two Lesmos, because honestly, the car is just so heavy and so draggy. It's just not fun to go through there. But Carlos Sainz is now in P3 as he was overtaken by Perez. But there's smoke coming from the back of the Ferrari at their home Grand Prix. It's heartbreak for the Tifosi. It's heartbreak for Scuderia Ferrari, as they've only got one man flying the Italian flag and the prancing horse flag now. It's Charles Leclerc. Let's see what happens. Sainz pulls off to the side of the road. It doesn't seem like it's going to be a safety car, as we are now battling with Pierre Gasly and Daniel Ricciardo. Here we go. Gasly to the inside. I'm going to the outside. Ricciardo moves to the racing line. It's 3 wide. Gasly shoves me off the road. I had nowhere to go there. I had nowhere to go. Like, what just happened? Guys, let's have a replay of this. So Ricciardo is just super early on his brakes. He leaves the door wide open, and Gasly just decides, okay, I'm going to shove him off track, and I need to take to the escape road. But for some other reason, the FIA didn't give me an illegal overtake, so I can keep this position. Don't know why, I'm not going to complain, but I mean, Gasly just turns to the outside of the corner. It's as if he hit me on purposely. What were you doing? Guys, look at Gasly's steering wheel. So obviously he's pinched to the inside, so he's got a very tough corner coming up. But that means you brake earlier. But look, he turns left, realizes he's not going to make it, and then just yeets the car right. Look at that. He yeets the car right into my side pod. And I'm just like, I'm grateful that I don't have, well, I hope I don't have side pod damage. But where was I supposed to go? Because Gasly still almost understeers off the track. But, I mean, with sides being out, we are currently fighting for P5. How did this race go from having a massive crash with Max Verstappen at the start to, fighting for P5? As you guys can see, the rain is starting to come down. We are defending a bit harshly from Gasly because you guys can imagine I was a bit peeved off. But the rears are going off. The rain has started to fall. I'm going to go for the gamble. Let's box for those intermediate tires. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, baby! So we're into the lane. The car's already pretty wet thanks to the rain droplets. So I think it's going to be anytime soon we're going to have the DRS disabled. But guys, we have to jump back to this battle as Lando has overtaken his teammate Ricardo, and him and the young Frenchman Pierre Gasly are now fighting hammer and tong for that P5. As we are onto the inters, we're going to come out of the pit lane. I think yes, behind Mick Schumacher, as Yuki Tsunoda's got a 5-second penalty for some other reason. But we are ahead of our teammate Albon. So we've got some nice clean air. So we just need to try and get this car back with with Gasly and the two McLarens, because that is what we are fighting for, and those are some serious points for this race. And look at that. As we head into Curva Grande, the DRS has been disabled, meaning Inters and Slicks now have the same pace, but it's too dangerous for DRS. So there's a lot that's now going to happen as we head on to lap 13. Leclerc is still not pitting. Wait a minute. Perez also is not pitting. Okay, well, Hamilton is in. Mercedes have called in their number one driver for the season. Hamilton is into the pit lane. So it means that they have seen my sector's times and they are busy, just like, okay, no, we have to get on the inters. This is the right time. Gasly is in. Norris is in. Ricardo is in. Oh, McLaren are double stacking. That means we're guaranteed to jump Ricardo again. But Ocon is in. Magnussen is in. Vettel is going to come in. Tsunoda, Schumacher, all these guys are going to come in. And I think the top three of Leclerc, Perez and Russell might have made a mistake, guys, because the rain is really starting to come down. Lando gets ahead of Gasly in the pit lane. But I'm searching for myself. Where are we? Coming down the main straight. Will we jump Ocon? Yes, we will. There's Gasly. There's Norris. We've played an absolute perfect strategy here. We are once again ahead of the McLaren. Mick Schumacher has actually stayed out on his slick tires, which has been a big mistake. But I think literally Schumacher, Russell, Perez and Leclerc have made massive mistakes. But Hamilton, he's got 20 seconds to gain on his teammate Russell. Is he going to make up enough time to maybe jump Leclerc or Perez? I highly doubt that, but we'll have to wait and see. As Leclerc and Perez are tiptoeing around Parabolica, as we know they have to come into the pit lane. Yes, they do. And I mean, Ferrari are fighting for a win here, and the other car is basically sitting with a blown engine. So they are going to put a lot of pressure on Leclerc to win this. So here we go. Leclerc is in, Perez is in. I'm sure Russell and Schumacher are going to come in as well. Onto the intermediates we go. And if the rain stays, these tires will be able to go to the end, guys. There is no doubt about that. Russell is in, but where is the 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton? He rounds Parabolica. He's definitely going to jump his teammate by a massive margin. But is he going to be close enough to the Red Bull and the Ferrari of Leclerc and Perez? No, he's actually not. He's actually not. So Leclerc and Perez actually had some pretty good in-laps there on a very damp track. As Schumacher is coming in, and we are now under pressure from Norris and Gasly. Here we go. Almost side by side for myself and Lando Norris. I decide to defend in any case, but we slot back to the racing line heading into T1. But we are fighting for P5 currently, guys. P5 in the Williams. We're fighting McLaren, AlphaTauri. I'm freaking Alpine. And I can guarantee you guys that Ocon is going to come from behind in that Alpine. As you guys can see, myself and Norris having a bit of a ding-dong. But here comes the AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly. Oh, whoa. Gasly goes onto the grass. We are defending for everything we are worth in this Grand Prix. But Gasly now goes side by side with Norris. And this is exactly what I need, guys. Because I feel with DRS deactivated, I might have enough pace to pull away from these guys in intermediate conditions. But Gasly and Norris are just not allowing it. And Gasly is going for the Verstappen move. Will this end in tears? No, it does not. But to the inside, Gasly, if you shove me off track again. There's another bit of contact. Sorry for the break there in the commentary, guys. I quickly had a bit of a cough. Not the point. Gasly made contact with me again. What is Gasly's problem with me this Grand Prix? I understand it's the team time race. Holy crap, we had a massive moment coming out of the second Lesmo. Holy moly. Is it the Lesmo or the Detnaz? I can't remember, but I'm just going to stick with Lesmo. If I get it wrong, sorry. In any case. So, I had a massive moment coming out of the second Lesmo. So Gasly is still on me. Norris is on me. Ocon is here. Ricciardo is caught back up after the double stack with his teammate Norris. But here comes the Alpine of Esteban Ocon. We are 5 cars battling for P5. Gasly towards the outside of Parabolica. But look at Lando Norris. He tries to go up the inside, but nothing is going there for the Brit as he's coming into the pit lane. Wait a minute, what happened there? There was so much going on, I couldn't see what happened. But here we go. Myself and PA Gasly, it's a drag race, as we also need to defend from Ocon, but it's 3-1 heading into T1. Williams, Alpine, AlphaTauri, we just slipped through the 2 breads of toast, which is an AlphaTauri bun and an Alpine bun. And we stick it in P5. But Ocon, Gasly, and Ricciardo are here to battle. But guys, let's have a replay here of the lap 16 Parabolica incident. So myself and Gasly just run wide, and Norris just goes for a very, very audacious go up the inside. But that door was always going to close, Lando. So honestly, what's it like? I'll put my hand up for the Verstappen incident, but this is Norris's fault. Like, honestly, I couldn't go anywhere to the outside because Gasly was there. I needed to leave him space not to force him off track. And Lando was just like, okay, I'm going to go for a little bit of a gap here that was very quickly closing. So that has ruined Lando's race, which is not the best thing in the world. But it's now lap 17, guys. There's 10 laps to go, and we are still defending for everything we are worth. But Ocon is round! What a mistake from the Frenchman for the French team. What a massive blunder there from Esteban Ocon. He just goes round. I mean, I had nothing to do with this. What is happening to the cars around me? They're all just making mistakes. But Ocon just puts his foot down and there's no grip whatsoever. He's lucky to keep the car out of the barrier. I mean, honestly. But now it's back to the way it was. Ricciardo, Gasly, myself. Let's get battling, boys. As you guys see, I pulled out a bit of a gap after Ocon's incident, but Ricciardo goes right around the outside of Gasly. That's a beautiful move from the Aussie. As we now look at Lance Stroll at the start of lap 19 in the Aston Martin. His teammate Vettel is currently fighting for points in P9. So wonderful racing here from Vettel. Ocon. Stroll makes the same mistake as Ocon, just at a different corner. It's at T1, and I mean, poor Lance Stroll. What does this guy need to do to get a break? But that actually brought out the safety car, guys, because I think Stroll went into a stall. So he had to restart the car and everything because the car just didn't move. So I don't know what happened to him. I'm just saying it could have been a stall, but I honestly don't know. But so the safety car came out like without any warning, and now everybody is bunched up. So this is going to put a ton of pressure on myself because all the cars behind me are faster than me, and these enter conditions, you know, they weren't favoring me too much. And once again, this stupid safety car traction control system screws me over. Because Russell is gone, it's 2.5 seconds. My hand, because I'm still playing on a controller, not the point, was flat out on the throttle, but I couldn't do anything. The car was just stopping. So I hate this stupid safety car traction control thing. Cody's, EA, just get rid of it. We can warm our tires still, and we don't lose tire temp, because it's the stupidest system that exists. In any case, so Leclerc leads from Perez, then the 2 Mercedes of Hamilton and Russell. Oh, Russell actually got up the inside of Lewis on the safety car restart. Lewis is not going to leave this hanging, guys. We now start lap 25, and here comes the 7-time world champion once again up the inside of his teammate George Russell. Here we go. Usually Russell defended the inside. Does he prefer the outside now? Lewis around the outside. He's got better grip in very tricky conditions already. Lewis Hamilton up into the podium positions. It's Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, top 3 positions on the podium. But here we go. Here comes Lando Norris. Obviously, Ocon after his spin lost a bit of time. But now Lando and Ocon are battling once again. Lando towards the outside of Parabolica. Will he make this move stick in wet weather? Oh my word, McLaren are loving the outside moves today. Ricciardo did it to Gasly. Lando just did it to Ocon. I mean, Absolute brilliance from the McLaren boys today. But here we go. Now Sebastian Vettel holding on to one singular championship point is under pressure from Lando Norris. The two Haas cars. Oh, Vettel is wide. He locks up the brakes heading into the second chicane, and that is just a free move for Norris. But guys, what I was busy saying, the two Haas boys, they are actually in for solid points today. P8 and P9 for Magnussen and Schumacher. So it's going well for the two Haas cars as we are still under pressure from Gasly and Ricciardo. It's only 3/10 from Ricciardo to myself. So guys, anything can still happen. But we're coming down the back straight for the penultimate time, heading into Parabolica for the penultimate time. And it looks good for the Ferrari fans, for the Tifosi, as Leclerc rounds the final corner for the penultimate time. And he is going to start the final lap of the Italian Grand Prix in the lead for the Scuderia. And he's chased by Perez. Perez is not giving this up. But I just don't think the Red Bulls got the pace of the Ferrari in these conditions. They didn't have the pace of the Ferraris all weekend, to be honest. Hamilton 2 seconds behind. Russell 2 seconds behind his teammate. And we are a further 3.6 behind. But we are just trying to stick, well, just to stay ahead of Gasly and Ricciardo. But here comes the Frenchman Pierre Gasly as I was under pressure from Ricciardo. Will Ricciardo go to the inside? No, he does not. But Gasly just has a massive run on the outside because I had to defend from Ricciardo. But it's a beautiful move, a beautiful attempt from Gasly. But unfortunately, not quite there yet. No cigar. We are fighting once again, guys, for P5. This is literally best of the rest because Sainz is out, Verstappen is out. So we are fighting for best of the rest compared to the top teams. We just need to keep this car in a straight line. And as I say that, well, wanted to say that, I have a bit of a tank slapper. So this final lap is still far from over. Williams v Alpha Tauri, v McLaren, v Haas. It's just gonna be kicking off on this final lap. But guys, honestly, these tires did not feel very well. The rain has stopped, so the track is drying out. But I mean, it's the final lap. There's no point in going for a slick tire strategy, if you know. But you guys can see I defend from Gasly into what's that corner's name again? Not Parabolica. Ascari, no. Yes, it's Ascari. It's Ascari. In any case, but guys, Charles Leclerc rounds the final corner. He wins the Italian Grand Prix for the Tifosi. Perez P2, Hamilton P3, Russell P4. And after fighting like an absolute rabid dog, we are going to manage to come home in P5 here at Monza. What a race!
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
That's a fantastic performance from Ferrari. It hardly looked in doubt. What do you think it was today, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
And here we are, a team that is no stranger to the podium, taking their place on top once again. A sublime race today, and a stunning win for Ferrari. So let's review the updated driver standings. Charles Leclerc, currently leading the championship standings, extends his lead even further with this result. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to O'Connor. They pushed and found some fantastic performance. It was just a pleasure to watch.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. It was also a strong American team, Formula One, very soon.
Guys, once again, I do apologize for that jumpy recording. Once again, I can't do anything about that. But guys, Drivers' Championship-wise, We've opened up a bit of a gap to Ricciardo, closed up to Norris. Not that I'm trying to battle Norris. There's no point in doing that. But with Alonso not finishing, it's looking pretty heading into the final, 4 rounds of this championship? 3 rounds? Wait, Singapore, Brazil, Abu Dhabi. Not the point. In any case, I've had a bit of a brain fart. But, guys, the Drivers' Championship is looking good. Leclerc's on the verge of winning the championship, so there's no point watching at the top. But Perez is into P2 with Hamilton P3, Verstappen P4, Russell P5, and Sainz has just had such bad luck this season, guys. I feel for the Spaniard. But Constructors' Championship-wise, guys, like I said, we're not chasing McLaren. But considering how well it went for us today and how wretched it went for Alpine, this is a dub. And I mean, if AlphaTauri, in the hands of Gasly, have gotten more performances like this for these final few races, they can actually catch Alpine. So there's still a lot to play for in this championship. But I mean, guys, it's a damn P5. It's a damn P5 at Monza. This was the best race possible, to use the strengths of this car, because we've got a car that's very strong for straight line speed. And oh my word, did we literally use it to the best possible, what's the word I'm looking for? To the best possible expectation. I'm not going to lie, I'm still a bit miffed about the final safety car restart. Because honestly, for that stupid thing where the traction control just holds you back so much that you can't accelerate, I absolutely hate that. And I think, honestly, we had enough straight line speed to maybe go for a dive up the inside of either Hamilton or Russell. We might have even gotten a P4, but that is not what was needed to happen. Still, I'm satisfied with P5. It's been a brilliant race. Although, once again, I do put my hands up for the incident with Max Verstappen. Apologies to the Dutchman. That was my fault. I just wasn't focused on what was happening behind me. I was focused on these 3 cars ahead of me, the 2 AlphaTauris and the Alpine, as they were fighting very, very harshly. And I thought that maybe I had a chance to go for a dive up the inside of one of them. And I cost Max his race. So I deeply apologize to Verstappen. It was a massive crash. Even to my teammate, I ruined his race as well by breaking his front wing. I'm the one that should have gotten a lot of damage with that crash, and I didn't. So yeah, it was a bit luck, if I have to put it that way. But guys, what a race. P5 once again. Things are looking good in the drivers and the constructors, but still there are still races to come. There are still points to be earned, and anything and everything can happen. Never say never in the world of Formula One. But guys, that has been this episode. Once again, guys, I apologize for my very weird voice, guys. I don't know what's going on with my voice recently. I have like 1 month where it's normal and it's happy, and then for the next month it's just cracky and squeaky and I don't know what. But that is not going to keep me from making my favorite content for my favorite fans. Guys, honestly, it's been a fantastic race weekend. Everything that could have gone right did go right, and we had a sensational battle with Gasly, Ricciardo, and Norris through most of this race. McLaren and AlphaTauri just brought the fight to us today, and it was such a joy to race these guys. You guys know I've got a soft spot for Pierre Gasly. Norris is starting to grow on me more and more. But it was fantastic. Norris went for an insane move up the inside there. But the racing was just freaking brilliant. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for staying till the end. Make sure to drop a like down below on the video if you enjoyed yourself throughout any stage of this video. It's very much appreciated and it helps me out so much. Make sure to go check out the links in the description down below. And if you are not yet subscribed to Turbo Fox RacerZ, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe down below and don't forget to ding that bell to never ever miss a future video here on Turbo Fox RacerZ. You guys are amazing. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys for the next video. Cheers!